Nathaniel goes.
All right, welcome everyone. I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. Please rise for a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome everyone. It's still somewhat warm out. I hope the weather continues, right? And the more this continues, the closer we get to spring, and that's all I'm looking for, right? Yeah.
Did you see the sun?
It's out late, right?
It was as big as this room. It was incredible.
Incredible. And I was in Florida last week, and I think the temperatures were very close to here, right? So it was cold down in Florida. Oh, well. So, but hey, so the two first items on the agenda are the homeowners associations. Is somebody from Arden Lakes here or online? Ron, can you unmute yourself, Ron? Yep. You're muted.
Hi.
Hey, Ron, how are you? Thanks for being here. Do you have anything to share with the board?
Thank you. Yeah, yes, I have one question. In the last village newsletter, they mentioned looking at paving private roads, a project between the village and HOAs. Is there any consideration of looking at plowing private roads as part of the village's snowplow contract? Because then it would be savings for everyone, I would assume, and overall the roads would be safer.
So what that was, I wrote that down, and it was talking about the possibility of putting a grant program in place so that the HOAs that have private roads would be able to apply for funding to pave their roads. It's not approved. It's one of the budget items that's going to be discussed in the upcoming budget meeting. I think snow removal, that enters a whole nother situation with liability and everything else like that, being that they're private roads. But that's what that was, Ron, was just the possibility of implementing a program where HOAs with private roads could apply to get funding to pave their roads.
Have you looked at our bill warrant for tonight?
We have a lot of
extraordinary amount of costs of plowing in January.
Oh, yes. Yeah, good point. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anything else? Did you have anything else?
No. That was it.
I'm hoping that there'll be enough money and we'll be able to start something there and we'll see where it goes. So, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So, Carol Levin from Victorian Oaks. I don't think you are here. So, time for public comment. Any public comment in the room? No public comment in the room? Right, it's Ed, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just representing the Keith Monroe Residential in opposition to the 4359 Illinois Route 22 proposed rezoning. Just wondering if there is any developments on that aware of.
No, the applications are still under review.
Will that be covered in the plan report tonight?
Same thing I just said. The planner won't be here tonight because there is no more information to report on it. So, but you will all be notified when that is, when there is a hearing ready. So.
Any other public comment? Anybody online have public comment? If not, I'm going to keep us moving. There are no public safety officials here tonight. So that we're going to move right to item 5, which is the appointment of Archana to the Plan Commission as the secretary. I want to just talk about this for a second. So you're here tonight. Thank you very much for being here. I appointed Archana to the AC, or we appointed her back on December 13th, 2022. But when I interviewed her prior to that, she always expressed an interest in being on the Plan Commission. And, so she noticed, she kept checking, there was the opening for the secretary, and she applied for it. I had her interview with Helen Wilson, who's also here, and she thought that she would be a great fit because of her skill set, being that you do this for a living at Highland Park, right? You're a building division manager at the Village of Highland Park. So, what I want to do is appoint her now. I've talked to Vic. She can do both positions, but what we'll start to do is look for a replacement for her on the AC. Undoubtedly, at some point in time, somebody will leave the Plan Commission, and she would then be most likely next in line to be a commissioner. So, go ahead.
Would you kindly pronounce your name the way I pronounce? And I'm not blaming you, you seem to not be.
Absolutely. Archana Mohanchandra?
Archana.
Did I get it pretty close? I got it pretty close, didn't I?
Oh, no, I'm not saying you didn't, you didn't seem confident, and I'm sure she would be.
Well, I was thinking through how she said it in the last meeting, or when I called her, actually, I was thinking about how she. I'm not even gonna attempt the last name, sorry, so.
Thank you.
So I would ask for your support for her appointment. She's highly skilled and wants to step up and do this.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
So who wants to make a motion?
So moved.
All right, moved by trustee O'Connor, second by trustee O'Reilly. I guess we can do a voice vote, right? All in favor? Aye. All right, motion carried. Thank you. We also have Jeff Burke here tonight, and so, this is, so we appointed Jeff Burke on March 28th of last year. In October of last year, his job took him out of town, and he didn't feel like it was fair for him to stay on the commission. And he said he resigned, but I never really accepted it. He's back now. He's retired. He's here full time, it was felt best to just reappoint him, right? Just so it's official. So I would ask for your support here and a motion to reappoint him to the Scenic Corridor and Conservancy Commission. So that's moved by trustee O'Connor. Second by trustee Tanucci. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Thank you. Thanks for your service. And you're going to be drafted for the Pathway Committee too, if you didn't
Whoa,
hear that yet.
I need,
So, thank you. Thanks for being here. All right, so then, we have the consent agenda. There's several things down there. As pointed out, there's a lot of snow removal costs in there for the bill warrant. So we've got the January 2024 bill warrant. We have the approval of the regular board meeting minutes from the January 23rd, 2024 meeting. Approval of the executive session minutes from the January 23 board meeting as well. Now there's two. We had a special meeting on February 3rd. There was the special meeting minutes, and then there was the executive session minutes. There's a slight change in that I was the author of those minutes, and I didn't notice a footer in there. So the footer was, what date was it? It was December 2nd. And so it's been corrected. And so I would ask that, that you approve those as amended with the proper date, the footer being in there of February 3rd. So, moved by trustee O'Connor.
Also a minor change in the January 23rd minutes. There were typos. They referred to Lake County as Flake County.
I saw that.
And under the engineer's report, I just said Lake Michigan Water Connection as opposed to Lake Michigan Water Connection Grant, so I added grant.
Okay, so that was moved by trustee O'Connor, seconded by trustee O'Reilly. It's a roll call.
Trustee O'Connor.
Aye.
Trustee O'Reilly. Trustee Jamil.
Okay.
Trustee Chris Meyer.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and, Chris, can you hear me by any chance? Chris? Trustee Browse?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Bill, can you hear me? Thank you.
So, yes, if I understand it, you are not able to vote, because you're not, you're remote for a reason that's, not allowed, but you can still, Vic said you can still participate in the meetings, you just can't vote. So I would offer that to you.
No, I understand.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't meet the qualifications or the conditions, so I understand all that. So thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Chris. So, but please feel to pipe in, or I may even call on you, so thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, so then, the next item is discussion and approval of an ordinance renewing the Haku Sushi liquor license. I'm gonna request that we defer this item. The application's not complete, we're not ready to bring it before the board. Everyone okay with that? All right, and then, we're gonna move right to the next item, which is discussion and consideration of a Park District grant application for Teasel. And I'm gonna ask trustee Tanucci maybe to lead it?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I'll start out, and then, Jan, you can jump in whenever you like.
Can we, once you finish, can we wait for Jan and I have one question I think is board more?
Okay, yeah,
And
okay.
I don't think it's gonna negate anything from Jan.
Okay. So I'd just like everybody to recall, 6 years ago, 2018, what the right-of-ways looked like down Route 83, Route 22, Route 53, county roads, local roads, huge monocultures of teasel. Every summer, going to seed, those tall, ugly stalks dropping hundreds of thousands of seeds. So we can come up next year and we'll start that whole life cycle again. When I was Park District president, I and the other Park District board members created a program which the village has been a partner in to hire a certified herbicide application company, Tallgrass, to go through and treat all that teasel, initially in state and county roads, but 3 years ago we added local roads. You'll see today, it's at least 95% eradicated. Now, this is not the kind of thing where you can say, game over, we won, you can go on other things. It keeps coming back every year, and I know this firsthand, because I personally treat teasel along Oakwood Road, as well as one section of the mitigation area at Oakwood and 83. And every spring, it comes right back, because the seeds travel with birds, travel with the wind, the seeds float on water, so if you have swales and things, it carries the seeds. It's a never-ending battle, but the good thing is, we're no longer trying to eliminate a huge monoculture throughout the village, rather we're in more of a maintenance mode right now. But if we skip even 1 year, and it comes up and it goes to seed, we're right back where we started. So we cannot drop the ball on that. So with that as background, Tallgrass is no longer willing to do the work this year, in part because of their workload, in part because they have safety concerns walking along, especially 83, 22, and 53, speeding cars going by just feet from where they're working. So the Park District has gone out for quotes, received a few quotes, negotiated down rates, ended up recommending McGinty, which is a local company. The estimate from McGinty is about double what was paid last year to Tallgrass. However, it's important to understand this is not a firm quote, it's a not-to-exceed quote. So they'll bill actual time, which I believe will be less than their estimate. Because they haven't done this before, I think they're being cautious and probably giving a bigger estimate than it'll actually end up being. But either way, the rates are higher than Tallgrass, so it'll still end up more than last year. Right, so with that as background, the Park District had applied for a grant, a $10,000 grant, which the village has supplied for the last 5 years, I believe it is, and asked for it again. However, to do only state and county roads, it'll take $14,400, which is obviously in excess of a $10,000 grant. What I asked Jan is, or told Jan is, I don't think we should disregard the local roads. The only reason why the Park District was proposing not doing local roads is to try to keep the cost down. But as I said before, you drop the ball 1 year, it starts right back up again, and think about it. Our landscaper will mow the rights of way on local roads, pick up those teasel seeds, spread them all over. They stick to the mowing deck. Those same landscapers go to 83, 22, and 53. They mow along there. They drop the seeds. For a couple of years, we're right back where we were before. So, while not doing local roads will save money, ultimately it'll cost money because we're just going to reinvest everything. So my position is, we should, as a village, do not only the $10,000 grant, but cover the cost, which is about another $7,500, above and beyond that, to do the same roads we've been doing the past several years. And the thing to keep in mind, and I explained this in the letter in the board packet, is really, we as a village are responsible for maintaining the rights of way of state and local roads anyway. That's why we hire and pay landscapers to mow along the rights of way. It's really not the park district's job, but the park district has stepped up. They're administering the program, they're supervising the program. After 6 years, they're familiar with what needs to be sprayed, where it needs to be sprayed, where are the hot spots. So we're very appreciative of the fact that they're doing that, and especially with a new vendor coming on board. Unlike Tallgrass, they knew exactly where to go after 5 years. The new vendor is gonna need to be shown, here's the hot spot, here's the areas you really need to focus on. This area over here usually isn't too bad, but check it out anyway, you know, whatever. So what I'm saying is, the park district should be allowed to continue, especially this year with our new vendor, and that we should step up and pay the extra over and above the $10,000. So $10,000 community grant, yes, and we should directly pay whatever it is up to, it was in my memo, $7,700 something. I can get the exact number as soon as I get on the screen saver, but you had a question, you know.
Well, it's actually, you know, for or against this, and I happen to be for, is this the right avenue? Should we be continuing to run this through our community grants? Or is that the only way to ensure we continue to have a partnership with the park district where they're really being the project managers? Or should this be a regular maintenance budget item? And are we on the right avenue for this money, regardless of how we feel about the pros and cons of the project?
So, first of all, the amount in excess of 10,000 is up to 7,434, 7434. Could be less depending on the actual thing. Now, to answer your question, actually, my first thought was exactly what you're saying. Let's just be billed directly for this, bypass the whole community grant thing entirely. Personally, as long as it gets done, I don't have a preference which way to go. You know, whatever is cleaner from a financial standpoint, I'm fine with.
It's more of a governance and what this body thinks about, you know, it going forward, but it's also, to your point, I'm very appreciative. The park district has been project managing, and we're short on staff, so that's something that has value also. But I also am kind of sensitive to the idea that, you know, it's kind of like they don't know until they come asking every year, and it would seem to be a more appropriate thing that if we really value this, to just put it in the budget. I don't know. But the project management is important.
Yeah. I'd be fine with that.
What does this group think?
I think you raise a good point, but I differ with you. I think it should stay in the grant area.
Okay.
And forget all the drama that we went through for the grant program, and just put that additional amount out of the grant instead of out of our budget. Because I think they should be in charge of it. I think they should be the director of the program.
They should be the director.
Yeah.
Should they be then, do we want to have them come in advance every year, or?
Yes.
That's really what that
a good
program's
idea.
doing.
That's a good idea, certainly before now, earlier in the year. I can't see us ever turning it down except for a very good reason.
Question, just for understanding purposes. And is coming under the community grant, and the village roads for the state and counties, do we apply for state and county grants as well for this, or are we relying only on land road? Because it seems like we are covering state and county. That is grant.
I haven't seen any grants for diesel eradication.
Why is the village is paying under the community grant?
We have the responsibility for those rights of ways, is what trustee Tunisia, we have the responsibility, it's not our road, but we have the responsibility to maintain the right of ways.
Within several feet of the roadway. I think it's 20 feet, I'm not sure.
About 20, yeah.
So I don't mean to delay it, but I just think after 5 years coming through the grant program, is this the way we want to continue? That's really my big question.
I had the same question. What bucket does it come out of, and is it rightfully a grant, you know?
Trustee Borowski, you wanted to say something, right? You're unmuted.
Yeah, I did. Thank you. I think it should come out of the grant program because it's not really that anymore in a sense. But I also have concerns about the other invasives in town. So we spray teasel, but we ignore Phragmites. Or, we started the grant program with the buckthorn. I'm not sure I've seen an actual application come across the board's desk on the buckthorn thing. My point being is, if we're going to go after invasives, we should go over all invasives with a comprehensive plan and adequately fund it, not just for teasel, because frankly, I'm not sure teasel, I think teasel has come a long way in terms of its reduction, but I think Phragmites is taking over the village. And I just want to throw that out there saying, is it time to do something that's more comprehensive than just cherry picking teasel?
Question is this qualify under community grant versus the maintenance?
Yes, it does qualify.
Yeah, I mean, so Kent was knee-deep in the grant program, so yes.
Yeah, that's true. It is the intersection right there.
Jan did such a good job, and she, in the very beginning, she's worked on it every year. So I think what Chris is saying is worth considering as an annual village need to do. I don't know, I haven't thought about it in that scope before, although we talked about this maybe a year ago. And maybe we need to add this into a budget consideration that we should maybe have the whole program, because now I'm changing my mind.
Well, then, with the Park District, and this is the time for Jan to talk.
Yeah,
Would
Jan,
the Park
so-
District feel willing and able to expand their scope?
So first off, let me just, Jan, thank you for what you've been doing.
Thank you.
And can we give Jan the floor for a few minutes?
Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I thought that
Yeah,
was.
yeah. Go ahead, Jan.
Well, I honestly have no idea the scope of other invasives outside of the Long Grove Park District properties. So right now, I've been working with tallgrass on Phragmites and buckthorn and all sorts of invasives on our properties. But outside of the properties, on roadsides or in common areas in Long Grove, I don't know the extent of those invasives. So, I'd be happy to work with somebody and dig into it and get a quote. I'm sure it's going to cost a lot of money if there's a lot of a lot of it. But I mean, just the teasel roadsides, one of the vendors said it's 50 miles of teasel that, 50 miles of roadsides that they were traveling, to get all the teasel. That's what one of the vendors' proposal said. So it's a lot of territory. So with other invasives, you'd have that same case where you'd be, looking for the invasives and just a lot of footwork, just trying to find them and then addressing them. So, I'm happy to pitch in and help, but like I said, I don't know the scope of that. Just like with teasel, we started from scratch. Two of us driving through town, and wherever we saw teasel, we marked it on a map. And then we got bids and showed the map to the vendors and moved forward. So we'd have to do the same thing with other invasives as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that would be great.
So then.
What do we do with what
we would act on tonight
Yeah,
would
tonight.
be saying, do we want to expand beyond the 10,000 for the request at hand, right? And then say, if Jan would be so willing to investigate and come back at a later time, the ideal would be in time to put it in our next fiscal year budget, or at least understand how big it is.
Well, I would assume that McGinty is a great source of information. And hopefully would share that with us.
don't speak for McGinty, obviously, but they may be able to just drive through town and identify themselves where the Phragmites exists or anything else we're looking at, and put together a proposal without Jan or anyone else at the Park District having to manually do it.
I'd have her involved in it.
Okay.
Can I ask a procedural question, though? So the grant's 10,000, and then we would cover the rest. How does that work? How do we do that? Is
Budget amendment?
that what we do? But we would pay directly, we would pay McGinty directly, or we pay the Park
No,
District?
I think that the way we're discussing it, because the contract is between the Park District and McGinty, is that we would be providing the money to the Park District.
Okay.
And then they would be responsible to pay McGinty.
Is there support to do this tonight, this way? Yeah?
Yes.
Somebody want to make a motion?
Can I just add a quick
Sure.
PS? I would like to see an educational program for our residents so that they know that those big, tall, fluffy things in their yards are invasive and they're gonna eat up all of their land. A lot of our residents have no clue what we're talking about when we talk about Teasel, Phragmites, and Buckthorn. Maybe the scenic corridor, people could help us out to have informational meetings, what to do, how to do it. I've seen people cutting down Teasel, however, they're cutting it at the wrong time of year.
Yeah.
And I'm sure their intentions are really good, but that's not the time to do it. So I'm wondering if a combination of, notices in the newsletters, the e-newsletters, maybe a class or two along the way, and get some of the folks from Scenic Corridor could help us.
I'm sure Jeanette Berger would be happy to head that up, and I see you're not.
And it could be Zoom, you know,
Yeah.
they don't
Yeah.
have to come.
No, she would. She's done some stuff for the HOA meetings too, so.
And we've had numerous, articles about Teasel. Anybody that doesn't know when, or even to question when to cut Teasel.
But not everyone gets the newsletter. You don't
No,
understand?
I know that, but it's just one of those funny things you have to keep in mind.
Sure.
We've had a lot of people move in, I mean, you've
Right.
That's very
Right.
had a lot of people move
Correct.
in, they've come in from the city, they're looking for open land in a good school district, that is not on their mind to use
Right.
for.
Right. And not everybody's a gardener. You know, I mention things all the time about, gee, isn't this pretty, and then people go, what? You know, they just don't see it, it's not in their, it's not in their purview, so, okay, fine. But I think the more we could educate, the more the residents could help out and be aware of as well, you know, because it's not just the roadways that are a problem,
Yeah.
so.
Somebody
Yeah,
want to
I-
make a motion?
Oh,
Go
sorry.
ahead.
I was gonna say, I'll submit a couple articles too, to stroll into Bridge or the newsletter, because I have articles that we've run before. So I'll get on that, so we can maybe April or May.
We welcome that,
Okay.
Thank you.
So I'd like to make a motion to fund the Teasel program this year at an amount not to exceed $17,434.
Do you need to be more specific on what's the grant and what's not, Vic?
I believe from what Ann had said, we're gonna amend the grant budget to add the additional amount, correct?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
Okay,
There's enough in the grant budget to handle that already. It'll be under the.
but the maximum grant is $10,000.
$1,000.
We'll get around
We will be cutting short two other future $10,000 requests.
Okay, so moved by trustee Tanucci, seconded by trustee O'Reilly. Roll call, please.
Trustee Tanucci.
Aye.
Trustee O'Reilly. Trustee Jamil.
Aye.
Trustee Chris Meyer.
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor.
All right, motion carried, thank you. Okay, the next item.
Thanks, Jan.
Thank you very
Can we
much.
encourage Jack to put this in the e-newsletter?
Yeah, I think that's what, yeah, we got that.
Super.
Yep. All right, so the next item we are going to defer as well. New information, it wasn't even our money that somebody found, it's the fire department, so, yeah.
Bummer. Do we get a finder's fee?
I don't know. So anyways, it's all figured out, there's no need for it, and we'll just leave it at that. All right, so, everyone okay with deferring it? Actually, we're not, it's done, we're not gonna have to talk about it again. All right, I guess there's no village planners report, as previously stated. So now, the moment you've been waiting for, the village engineer's report.
There you go. All right, village engineer's report is in the board packet. We'll highlight a couple things. First of all, the road expansion, time to start thinking about the road, 2024 road maintenance program. That's number 2 on the engineer's report. There's a supplemental memo in the board packet. Similar to prior years, we took a look at the village's pavement condition study. We drove the roads in December to come up with a recommended base bid and an alternate bid for this year's road program. So this year we looked at the base bid, and that's the first chart at the bottom of the first page. Manassas Lane, Port Clinton Road, State Lane, Lakeridge Court, and Lakeridge Drive, and then some reclamite treatments for, and then flip to the second page for construction costs of just a little over $800,000, including the soft costs a little under $900,000. So $800,000 is typical budget for the village for the road program. We did take a look at what are the next recommended roads, and we included those as the bid alternate and one. In the event the village elects to bid those roads for resurfacing, and we've got Sumter Drive and Sumter Court. The totals for those are in there. And then the last box here on the bottom of page 2, you do the base bid and the alternate. That's $1.2 million of construction costs, and then $1.3 million with the soft costs included. Kind of summarizing the pavement conditions study, that started in 2015. The village has completed 9 years of that 15-year road program, so 77% of the way through that as far as miles of roads resurfaced. This year, if the village moves forward with the base bid, that increases to 81% of the roads repaved since 2015, and then with the alternate would be up to 83%, which is very good, considering that would be 2/3 of the way through the 15-year plan. So tonight, just looking for authorization or direction to proceed with preparing the project manual, so this thing can be bid in either late March or early April. Then the second part of that, and you might be able to help with this, if any of the roadway this year would be funded by motor tax. Our manager, Poston, looked at the numbers, and what was I think it was just under $400,000 by the end of the year, T funds.
We currently have about, and we're getting in somewhere on that, normally historically we've gotten somewhere around like 30 a month.
But we haven't spent that, we're gonna spend that money.
Right.
Well, you spent some of it just now.
Just now, right, yeah. So we're gonna have, what, 187 left, is that what the number was, that somebody shared with me?
Yeah.
And then we'll build it back up?
And then you build it back up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you have to decide the exact amount to spend right
You
now?
don't have to decide that tonight.
So you have to
That's to start the paperwork.
start the paperwork to use the MFT money, and
If the village wants to use MFT money, yes, or no would be the,
why would we not do it,
exactly.
Right.
So,
right? And then secondly, though, do you need to also have, permission to bid with neighboring?
okay, so,
Is that a different thing?
Sorry. Prior years, Long Grove has partnered with Killdeer and Ely Township, and I've talked to both of those agencies, and they're both willing to go in on a combined road program again this year, which is a benefit to all 3 agencies.
That has never been a detriment, has it?
Well, yeah, 1 year.
One year it was, we actually got a worse price, but, oh well. But it was not enough to make a big issue out of it, but I was like.
There was one element of it that we got the worst price. The one thing that's the unknown is whether if we went out on our own, whether we would have gotten that kind of bid array to begin with. So
Right.
I think that the combined bidding has generally ended up better, irrespective of the combination of
Right, but I do remember that.
Yeah.
I do too. Could've used a pathway.
There you go. So then the question is, first on the base bid, I mean, we have enough money to do the base bid when you do MFT. If you're gonna have, 'cause 800 some odd thousand, or 900,000, and maybe a half million of that's gonna be MFT, that means out of our infrastructure fund, we're only gonna have to spend about 300,000 or 400,000. So I think the question is, first off, everyone okay bidding the base bid, and then should we also ask for the alternate bid in case, just in case, right? We wanna do that.
I mean, part of it is,
Oh, I would add that even if the base and the alternate is bid, the village still has, discretion on whether to award that.
let's go.
That's, we have nothing to lose.
We've got money in reserves both in capital and in general, and it's been waiting for a couple of things, including things like Lake Michigan Water Connection that are still not firm.
Right.
So why not understand what this costs?
Okay. I mean, everyone good with that?
Yep, I am.
There's no objections.
Can I ask you one question? Totally unrelated, and that is, have the engineers begun to discuss changing the makeup roads to accommodate heavier EV cars?
I could not tell you for sure.
Okay. I'm just looking for that
I'm
information, and I
thinking yes, but I don't know for sure.
And so the fun thing about that is they don't pay any MFT.
Exactly, and it's gonna come, it's gonna have to change.
Yeah. Oh, I dread some of the things that could happen, like, somebody put a computer on your car and charge you by the mile. Oh, my.
Right,
Insurance
Oh,
companies are already doing that.
right.
Optionally, you don't have to.
Yeah.
do it,
Ooh.
it's an option.
But when you think about it, even a Tesla, which is like 5,000 pounds, is not as heavy as an 18-wheeler. Weight is dispersed differently, but, you know, like if, I always look at Route
yeah.
053 and Lake Cook Road, where it was beautiful 3 years ago, and already the ruts are back in the road where the 18-wheelers sit waiting to make the left turn, you know? It's like, I think they do more damage.
Oh, probably numerically,
Yeah,
but if you put grossly the number of cars that versus the number of trucks, it's an interesting dilemma.
is nobody gonna ask about reclamite tonight?
You had to bring it up. You had,
Nobody gonna ask
so
about it?
Rita's prepared for this question, by the way.
No, Jeff started, no.
You did the research. This is, okay, so trustee O'Connor and I, we talked about reclamite, and this was a discussion even, last year, you know, the benefits of that. And, trustee O'Connor reached out to, Glenn Petco,
Oh, yeah.
who's the, chief engineer of construction with the Lake County, Division of Transportation. And the Lake County DOT uses reclamite, and, Glenn has also talked with the tollway, on their use of the reclamite. And some of this gets, really technical, but, in general, the tollway has, studied this and found benefits of using the reclamite, and there's some charts and some data to go along with it. The biggest thing I took away from it is the reclamite was the better product, because they also used, another, pavement rejuvenator, but the reclamite is better for the cold weather climates. So, which is exactly what we are experiencing, well, maybe not today, but, here a few weeks ago. So, there's also studies by, you know, Kansas DOT and other DOTs, but, from Illinois, this is pretty, applicable. And Rita, I don't want to misquote you, because you talked with Glenn Petco about the county's use of the reclamite, and the county, you know, they admitted that they haven't used it for, you know, 15, 20 years, they only started in 2018. But the county's stance on it is, even if they can, get one more year out of the useful life of the road, they find it worthwhile.
Given that 1 mile, one road is $100,000. And he also points out in here that the tollway did do a test strip. You always ask about that. they did do one, and, he said, you should call the Illinois Tollway Highway Authority, which I did after I hung up with him, you know? And he said they use buckets of it on the roads. They're big believers. They even used it on the shoulders to see if they could get things to stay softer rather than brittle, which is when they start to fall apart. And I felt good in that the county says we don't have enough data. We've only been using it for 6 or 7 years. He said, I can't tell you what it does for us. Here's what the tollway told him. And then there's some research in here, some more technical research than I can explain. But again,
I'll take you.
yeah, you know, it saves the cost of 1 year minimum. They feel they've already made their money back and then some.
1 mile, one road, 100,000 means what?
Well, if we pave, actually, no, 1 mile is $1 million, isn't it? $1 million.
On the tollway?
No, our cost to pave a road.
For us.
Whatever, it depends on the road, right?
Yeah, Cuba Road was, I think, exactly 1 mile, but anyway. So, you know, if Reclamite is costing us 15, what do we have down here? So we've got, 14, 22, $40,000 a year. You know, that's what we spend for four different areas. Because you're supposed to, and the tollway, as a matter of fact, didn't start applying it the second year after the road was installed, which is what the manufacturer recommends. We do that, but they didn't. They just started using it. And
First year? Or
the tollway when it became available, they just started using it, even though the roads were older than being the second year of their lifespan, so to speak. So Glenn said the way the county looks at it is, we can get 1 more year out of a road, we have more than gotten our money back on it. So they're in the same boat we're in. We haven't used it long enough to say yes, no, good, bad, but.
Well, certainly everything points to it being an economical thing to do. And I think we're just all looking for put it on paper.
Sure.
Yeah. But I think we all instinctively know it's a good thing.
Am I hearing the number, if Reclamite costs $40,000 for a mile and paving is about $1 million, that's basically a 4% cost for, if a 15-year road, 1 more year is a 7% life. So yeah, that pays off. If those are the numbers. I mean, it's a ballpark, but, you know, for a 4%, we get an extra year on a 15-year road, that would be 6 and change, 7%.
Well, I think where we were 2 years ago was on not private roads, but, local roads. You get even more.
Yeah, because you might, yeah, right, but that number, the dollar on this chart for Reclamite only has to do with with Oak Grove from 5367 to 83, not, you know, they don't equal 4 miles or 10 miles or anything like that. That's just what it would cost us for those roads we've redone within the last 2 years. You know what I mean?
If I'm looking at these feet, that's 2 miles.
Correct.
Okay, so bottom line is we think it's beneficial, and if you want to debate it again, you'll have a second opportunity when you approve the bids. So.
Not exciting, but I'm up every year and I do it, I head it up.
We should make our guts feel better now.
Okay.
And the typos from what was supposedly my email is what his office recorder printed out from the way I spoke, so I felt better than him.
All right, Jeff, keep us going.
Also, one other quick thing, it's rumored that a second company is going to be developing a product like this, which will add competition, potentially drive costs down.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perry.
Back to the engineer's report, just one other thing to highlight, jumping down to the second page, 15E. We were notified by Hawthorne Woods that, they're planning to replace the culvert that conveys Indian Creek, under Indian Creek Road this fall.
Aren't we thrilled?
Yep.
That'd be a
So
problem.
it'll be a 2-month, project, and they're looking from August to October, so late August to early October, right when school starts. So, the replacement is going to be between the Seneca Avenues, which is just west of, the village of Long Grove. I don't think the detour plan made it into the board packet, but, the road will be fully closed, the detour, there's not a real good detour for Indian Creek Road, so it's
Oh, it's
up
it's going down.
63 to Midlothian and back down, yeah.
Go to have Hawthorne Woods and then Mundell Line and then come back to Concord.
Yeah, it'll be quite the journey, so,
Oh.
I'll keep the board apprised as I, continue to get more information on that, but I wanted to,
Do you have a detour map that we could add to our social media?
yeah, I believe I emailed it to you,
Do you? Okay.
so.
If it's
Yeah, we did, he did, yeah.
headed east from the Lothian, the road goes this way. This one's Indian Creek and this one's Gomer. You cut through all the.
Big triangle. With that, that's, the items I wanted to highlight, if there's any questions, no. If not, into the report.
Yeah, the report will keep going, because you're still up. Discussion approval, proposal, relocation of the Ruth Barn.
This one I've got handouts.
Ooh, handouts.
There's a memo in the board packet, but, it had 2 footnotes on it regarding the proposal that we received from DeVoot, regarding
Do we
moving
have
the
any
barn.
extra to hand out to
This
the?
one, gives some more information on that. So, the memo, one, in the board packet.
Yeah, you want to hand, well, yeah, I was gonna give, the extras to them. That's what my plan was, but,
You got some more?
okay, yeah, that was my plan, but Bobby needs one now. Anyone else over here that wants one? Yep.
So as discussed couple meetings ago, we solicited proposals to move the Ruth Barn as the precursor to the Village Hall expansion project, since it's a technical term in the way. So the first option that we had was, disassemble the barn and move it to the Farmhouse Historical Society, property over by Stemple parking lot. Understood that this, option is not being pursued at this point, but we wanted to get costs on that. Only one, proposal, came back for that, but to take the, barn apart, move it and put it back together, was $186,164 from Carmichael Construction. So that's probably a good data point for a future date. Option number 2 is moving the barn intact from where it is now to over by the Archer School. Updated memo, we got 3 proposals to move the barn, ranging from $44,880 to $93,800. The low proposal was received from DeVoot House and Building Movers. As I mentioned, the memo in the board packet, had a lower cost than $44,880, because DeVoot did not include prevailing wage, which is to be required since it's a village project. So we did get the updated proposal from DeVoot earlier today, and that took that number from the $33,000, which was, non-prevailing wage, to $44,880. And that includes, temporary shoring of the barn, putting the timber mats as required to cross the creek, and putting it, on foundations over there. The foundations, that's the asterisk on the updated memo, are not included in DeVoot's number. Badger Contracting was the only one that did include that, but the temporary foundations, DeVoot is not interested in, constructing those, that's not their business. So we, reached out to Carmichael Construction and got a, cost of $10,000 to create or construct 12 temporary concrete pier foundations. I say temporary, will look much like what, the barn is on now, except it'll be circular. And there'll be concrete embedded in the ground, protruding out of the ground, much like it is now, just to, kind of level it out. The concrete will be rebar reinforced, and I say temporary because that's kind of what they look and feel like. However, the longevity of those is about 75 years. So temporary for aesthetic, but temporary in 75 years. So those were the proposals that we received. The 44,880 is kind of on par with, some of the previous discussions. It is a little bit more, prices went up a little bit since the last time DeHoop and all the other contractors provided us any pricing. But, like I said, the barn is in the way, so moving it to Archer School is the economical option, and we would recommend the village consider entering into the contract with DeVoot for moving the barn, and we'll reach out to a couple other contractors as far as the temporary foundations, just to make sure that we're not just sole sourcing that or, just going off one number.
Do we have to do soil tests for the foundation?
Already did.
Not mushy, it's not swampy.
It is mushy, but that's why it's gotta go down.
With Jeff and.
4.5 feet.
To go with. Doesn't have to come back.
In the engineer's dictionary.
Don't be able to add that to this, so we don't come back to this.
So, go ahead, Bobby, go ahead.
I wanted to ask when and how we're going to discuss the ownership. It is ours now, is it not?
When the village bought this parcel, it was here. So we bought the whole kit and caboodle.
Okay. We don't want to buy it.
I think that, I'm not gonna answer that question directly, but I don't know that, if we wanna preserve the barn, so the ownership, are you saying transfer the ownership?
Is there a downstream thing you're aiming to?
Well, yeah, I want them to own it and use it. I don't want us to own it nor have to use it.
But they use it right now, right? You all use it right now, right? The barn?
Yeah, actually, I have a question. When is it gonna be taken apart? Because Killdeer has asked for tours in March, beginning of March.
Well, it's not gonna be taken apart, it's just gonna be moved.
So when will be, so could we fix this further? So you don't wanna own it? Is that what I'm hearing?
No.
That was the memo we got.
Downtown, then the ownership would
No,
transfer once it goes
we did
downtown.
not have the funds to be able to.
No, I'm not talking moving, I'm talking own it.
I can't.
Well, I'd have to go back to the board again. We have a meeting tomorrow.
Okay, well, see if you'll take it.
To lease the land.
Bobby, if they own it, then we're gonna have to basically kick them out as if we're a landlord within the next 60, 90 days. Is that?
Oh, no, just do it in 6
I don't-
months. Just, when you get it up there, then give it to them.
Yeah, but what are they gonna do with it?
Well, I hope they're gonna use it.
But they're using it now, how's that any different? It's on our property, that's like a shed on your property, what are you gonna do with it?
I own it. If I own it, then I decide what I'm gonna do with it. Are you gonna run a program in it? Are you gonna have the village run a program, or are you gonna hire them to run a program?
But it's not personal property, it's real estate, because it's on our it's on our earth, so I don't understand.
So here, let me, so this is something we probably should do, is clarify how this all works in the ownership, because the Historic Society's been using it, doing tours. There's stuff in there that's theirs, right? It's just what they've been doing. So I think it's a valid question, we probably should clarify it. Does it have to be clarified tonight before we move it?
Oh, no,
Probably not.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Right,
As a matter of fact, it shouldn't be.
right,
It needs to be summertime.
correct. So it's a great discussion. Should the village own it, or should it be owned Historic Society. I think that's something that should be, and then how do you quick deed it or whatever you do to, whatever the term is.
I have a question for Jeff. How far in advance of moving the barn do we need to start constructing the foundation?
There'll be concrete needs to cure at least 14 days, recommended 28 days before you put something on it.
So here we are, the middle of February. 28 days from now, the middle of March. We haven't started yet. Sounds like we got a pretty tight schedule.
So what do you need tonight to make this move along?
To vote. Can I ask a question?
But before, hold that thought for a second. What do you need tonight?
We need a approval.
Of what?
Village to, sign the proposal with DeVoot.
DeVoot, does that cover the
And also-
foundation too? Yeah.
Well, DeVoot, and I was gonna say that, DeVoot and, up to $10,000 for foundation.
Okay, that's what you need tonight.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
And it would be subject to the conditions that were set forth in Jeff's memo regarding prevailing wage and the like.
Okay, so that's what you need tonight. Okay, go ahead and ask your question.
I'm a little reluctant, and I don't wanna start anything necessarily. Is there any way that barn can be incorporated into what we're doing?
What do you mean?
Physically in the way of the addition.
No, I understand.
I would say not without significantly modifying it.
Okay.
Oh, you mean make it part of our village hall? Oh, I see, yeah.
I'm just asking.
Okay.
Is it something we haven't talked about? It's something that it's like,
Got it.
okay, it's there, and we're moving it so it doesn't get damaged. You know, it's not like we're moving it because we don't like it. So, you know, what if it stays there? Okay, thank you.
It's a neat idea.
Hey, Bill, one question, if
but-
I may?
Yeah, please, Chris.
Hey, thank you. Is the Park District subject to the same prevailing wage restrictions that the village would be?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
The Park District, or are you talking about the Historical Society?
Okay, Historical
Park
Society.
District-
Thanks for the
Park
correction.
District, yeah. Historical Society, no.
No, okay.
The cost would be less.
They are not a governmental unit, and the prevailing wage, act, applies only to them.
Does somebody want to make a motion to approve the proposal plus the $10,000 budget, plus, what's the other condition?
The conditions in Jeff's memo
The
regarding
conditions in Jeff's
prevailing
memo.
wage, and there was a couple of other minor,
Okay.
minor tweaks.
And so that was moved by trustee Danucci, seconded by trustee O'Reilly. Roll call, because it's money.
Trustee Tucci.
Aye.
Trustee O'Reilly.
Aye.
Trustee Jamil. Trustee Kritzmeyer.
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. The next one, I think Matt Bickle's up here, is approval of the Village Hall construction project bid. Matt, are you gonna lead us, or Kent? Go ahead.
Absolutely, well, excited to be here, to report for the board tonight that, we received bids rather for the Village Hall addition renovation project, back on January 22nd. And we had a great turnout of 8 general contractors, who submitted bids, which is a good indication that this is an attractive project to contractors. And, the prices, came back favorably. Our updated cost estimate that we shared with the board, I believe back in either late October or early November, was just over $1.7 million. And we received a low bid from Bear Construction of $1,673,000, just under $1,000 under the cost estimate, which was great news. We had several other bidders that were, in a tight bunch here, which again, speaks to they were all seeing the same things in the drawings, and there was clarity, obviously, given the consistency of the bid. We did have 2 bid alternates for replacement of the existing vinyl windows in the lower level of the tavern and the boardroom here to be replaced with wood-clad vinyl windows. As part of the base bid, we need to replace the windows upstairs in the tavern. They are still old, single-pane, traditional wood windows that are failing. So replacing those was always part of the project. The first alternate would be to replace these vinyl windows, again, on the lower level of the building, which are in great condition, to match the windows upstairs that are being replaced. And then there's a second alternate then, if you proceeded with that, in order for there to be continuity, we would do the same window treatment in addition. However, the base bid considers leaving these existing vinyl windows and then matching in the addition new vinyl windows that would be consistent with what is most recently installed in the building. We've made a recommendation based on the pricing and I guess the sentiment that replacing good windows with windows that are now going to, based on being wood clad, require the village to do more maintenance going forward than you have to do on the current windows. It just doesn't make good sound sense, right? We price it as an alternate as just for consideration, so we know what the numbers are. But again, our recommendation is that there's no real long-term value in proceeding with alternate 1 or 2, and so we're recommending that the village not consider those alternates as a base bid award to Bear Construction in the amount of $1,670,000.
Questions, and let me ask one question from a budgeting standpoint. We have 1.1 million in ARPA funds, is that right? What is it, 1 point?
Yes.
It's like not quite
have-
1.1, is it what?
ARPA grant is 1075.
1075, okay, so there would be approximately, was it $625,000 that would have to come out of other funding to make this work, but we have it, so.
We've been saving for that rainy day.
Rainy day, so. So that I guess I would ask the board, what questions do you have, on this bid?
What's the sequencing of how that cost will lay out? Like, we're trying to get a sense of cash flow. That 1.7 have to get paid.
More or less, you will have monthly progress payments from the contractor. We'll hold 10% retainage throughout the course of the project. But in general, from a broad drawdown, you could look at the cost, the bid more or less being divided over the duration of the project. We've given them until January of 2025 to complete the project, so it's about
9 months?
8 or 9 months.
So if we divide by 9 and say that would be a rough estimate, and that includes your fees too?
Yes, ours will be divided as well.
Okay. Okay, if that helps. Fiscal years as well as cash flow.
As the contractor comes on board, we can ask them to give a more clear projection, but generally, that would be pretty close.
Is that something that you all could try to swag up for us?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Scientific wild ass guess.
Is that a environmental term?
Swag, I've been using it for scientific wild ass guess, yeah.
Or a WAG, yeah.
Is that in the engineer's dictionary? Okay,
It's very common to do a drawdown schedule.
thank you, that would be appreciated.
Everyone's silent, so that means either you're good with it or you,
This is better than the number we saw before by a teeny tiny bit, but it's at least something we've been working through on the capital improvement plan budgeting, right?
questions, anyone then?
I don't see any reason to say no.
Okay. Somebody want to make a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Okay, moved by trustee O'Reilly.
And specifically, the base bid would do.
Just the bare bit.
Second by trustee Tanucci, roll call.
Trustee O'Reilly?
Aye.
Trustee Tanucci?
Aye.
Trustee Jamil?
Aye.
Trustee Kritzmeyer?
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor? Aye.
Motion carried, thank you. Okay,
Bigger things we've ever voted on, and that was pretty quick.
it's done, we're moving on. It's done.
Oh, no, we've chewed on it already.
I know, a lot of work went into it. All right, so, village and trustee report. The only thing that I'll say is that on January 26th, Representative Kowski visited our village hall, and, she made a journey out here, and she, we thanked her for the grant that she submitted us for the water grant, and, she basically said, hey, if we ever get a budget, it's in there, it's still there. But she was very gracious and stopped by the village hall. And then secondly, I've got do the Barrington Area Chamber Summit tomorrow too, so I've got that tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. That's end of my report. Trustee Browski, you have a report for us? I know you're remote, but.
No, sir, nothing to report. Thank you.
Trustee Jamil, anything? Trustee Kritzmeyer?
Been continuing to work, and it'll probably get a little bit more, hefty on the upcoming fiscal year budget with, interim manager and assistant village manager. We did the call for projects. We've been trying to rate up some things. We are short on staff, as you all know. So this is not an opportunity to chew, but I'm gonna ask, a couple of them I'd like to understand a little bit better before we circulate, or, like, I may be trying to call one-on-one, and then obviously this will see the light of day when it gets to public hearing for the full budget, and we'll be discussing that in public. But I think trying to understand more of the details of what each of your proposals entailed, I'd like to understand that. If you've got a chance, I will send an email maybe, and we can set up some time.
Thank you for that. Trustee O'Connor?
I gave my report.
You gave your report. Trustee O'Reilly?
The only thing I might mention is that there are some residents that are confused as to why we keep these with street ornaments up.
Oh.
And yes, sir. Obviously for the movie, and there'll be more. They'll be bringing back more.
Newsletter, thing.
That's the sadness of our newsletter, is that it really isn't people oriented, it's more institutional oriented, and,
Ever wonder why the Christmas lights are still up?
well, yeah,
Because we couldn't afford to take them down? I don't know.
well, I mean, because they are beginning to wonder.
Yeah.
You know.
The circus is a little tired looking where there's no snow.
Well, yeah.
No, because the movie's gonna be filmed, right? So that's,
Well,
yeah,
right,
that's what we gotta tell
right.
people, yeah.
So just as we explain why they're there, we're gonna get more
Yeah.
lights, more decorations, and then people will go to think we're really
Really confuse them.
right, so,
Yeah. I think people are into it because, I mean, I honestly, like, we did a couple of the new employees. Honestly, I would love to see us talk a little bit more about what we actually do and why, in very digestible language.
Right.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Trustee Tanucci? Nothing. Okay, interim manager's report.
Call me if you have any questions. I did give you a copy of the Bridge newsletter spring outline. Please, the deadline is, in 2 days, February 15th, so please get your ideas. I just got some, so thank you for that plug, that manager report plug. And we do need that information.
That part again, what is it?
You got a copy, Bruce?
Yes.
Read through it and see if you have any ideas, suggestions, additions.
Did the bridge get hit over the weekend?
There was a post that it did, but, we checked and there was no record of it, so. Nextdoor posted,
Yeah.
I was wondering if somebody on Nextdoor was just spinning stuff up to see.
There's a lot of trash on that lately.
Yeah.
But they did the 80 people.
I was watching someone like going, I don't know that that's true. I was wondering if somebody's messing with us, so apparently it was not struck, so.
Oh.
It was? Where, so you checked, there's no report of it.
On the side from coming from the church,
There's
on the
a,
left-hand side,
there's a,
because the back one fell off. We saw it on Saturday.
somebody, you saw some, okay, so,
You have to really get up there and look at it, but it was good.
It's pretty well damaged,
Yeah.
wood,
The wood.
not the bridge.
all right, so add that to the list. You got that, yeah? Okay, thank you. It was not reported, so.
Oh, was it?
We did it and ran, okay, so then the post was correct?
I guess so.
Didn't know, I asked Art, did the bridge get hit? Apparently did, all right, so, the question is, the next item on the agenda is executive session. Do we need to go into executive session to discuss personnel matters?
Do we?
I'm just asking everyone.
Do you have anything in mind?
No, there's an item after that, I just wanted to make sure. And if you needed to talk about it, because the item after that is appointment of the village manager and ratification of the employment agreement. So, does anyone want to go to executive session?
No.
All right, if not, I'm gonna, we interviewed a nice man. He comes from Grays Lake, their assistant manager, his name is Chris Sparkman. And we have executed an agreement with him to be our next village manager. He will start March 4th. I'm excited about that. Basically, what I'm asking the board to do is to basically ratify the employment agreement that you've all been sent confidentially. Anybody want to make a motion to approve?
So,
Okay, moved by trustee O'Reilly, seconded by trustee O'Connor. Voice vote, please.
This is
Money, this is
Oh,
money.
I mean, roll call, sorry, roll call, I meant.
Money.
Yes, money, sorry, thank you.
Trustee O'Reilly.
Yeah, just gonna voice vote it.
Trustee O'Connor.
aye.
Trustee Jamil.
Aye.
Trustee Kritzmeyer.
Aye.
Trustee Tanucci.
Aye. Okay, motion carried. We have a new village manager, Chris Sparkman. Chris, if you're out there, congratulations. We're looking forward to you starting on March 4th. Thank you. All right, so, if there's nothing else that anyone wants to talk about, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
I have a question.
Sure.
Would it be possible for us to consider, since we're getting a new village hall, to, talking about observing, suggesting ways to freshen up the rest of our town as well, like primarily, the first thing would be like a rebranding, which I think we're gonna talk about.
That's one of the things to talk about that you submitted, yeah.
Right, and because it's this time of year, when the snow melts and the leaves aren't out yet, things always look so,
Eerie.
yes, whatever.
Everywhere.
Right, and I notice as I walk and as I drive through the village that we have a lot of signs that are showing their age. We have signs that used to be Casey's gas station red that are now pink, for subdivisions, billboards, the PNC Bank sign. I think nobody sees it because it's just part of what you see, but if it had a fresh sign, people might see it. And maybe, jumping from how the signs look, maybe we could review our sign ordinance. I think the Architectural Commission has done a fabulous job and does a fabulous job, but maybe we could, take a look at that as well. Sort of, we're going toward this new building and christening it and all that, landscaping.
It is my understanding that the HDLGBA is also pursuing some signs on their dime too, so that partnership would be
Sure.
probably.
Sure.
I would like to do that. I don't want to be working in a vacuum against them or opposite or even just side by side, not with.
Right,
So you hit a couple different things there, right? So,
but it, it's kind of an overall.
oh, got it. Street signs, right? Do they need to be replaced? That's something for village staff to look at, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Is there code violations with signs, right, that, discolored, I don't know.
Is it a code violation that they've just been there for, they've got vines growing on them, some of them, they've been there
I
so
don't know,
long,
so I mean, maybe some reminder notes?
But is there a way to add a standard?
Right, could we, I just,
Without
kind of a rebirth, sort of.
economically harming. And, because some of the small ones, you tack on $1,000 or $1,500 on a sign, and it's gonna hurt.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
But I see the need for a little,
And maybe we could.
even our signs.
Maybe we could set up a grant program or something like that, other towns do. I don't know if that's something we wanna do, but, if your sign's gonna cost $5,000, we'll contribute X.
They cost a lot more.
I know.
Let's take the time to look at all sides of it.
Mhm.
We might have, what do we call it? Oh, I'm having a moment. It's where we have these special meetings.
Oh, geez, Bobby. A workshop, Bobby, yeah.
There it is.
There you go, yeah. So we're supposed to, is when our new manager starts, that is one of the things that we're supposed to have.
It took that, I've been asking for 6 years.
No,
Yeah, that was
we
sharp.
had a strategy meeting when Greg started, right, so
I would like an outside,
and I wanted an
Village
outside
tour.
person too, so, but we need to do that, but we need our new village manager seated first, so, yes.
Hey, Bill,
Yes.
Bill, Chris, since we're open to question time, what is our plan for staff and Village Hall to run during construction? Are we planning to be on site or remove people off site, or what is our actual plan during the 9-month construction period?
Matt, you want to answer that question, because I think that you're gonna start building this thing before the walls punch through, so they'll be able to stay here for a while, right?
That's correct, yeah, the plan will be for Village Hall operations to more or less remain undisturbed, while construction of the addition portion happens. There will be a point in time where we do need to make that, connection, and then, we'll really just have the biggest impact on the use of the board. There may be a point in time where board meetings need to go off-site for, once the addition is complete, we will most likely temporarily occupy some of that space with village staff. We can complete the rather cosmetic renovations on this side of the building, and then.
is that it'd be helpful to have bullet points,
Oh, yeah.
things that we can plan towards versus most likely and possibly.
Like a little project plan,
'Cause I'm sure you've got that.
Well, what about the noise?
the noise?
Well, you know, you pick up the phone in there and you got a bulldozer out here, somebody's bound to hear something. Is that,
Oh my gosh, Loretta, you should have heard what we lived through downtown as they were building office buildings on Wolf Point. Like, you can't get away from the noise.
no, but what do we do for people calling in that hear a bulldozer and the person can't hear what they're saying?
You apologize and say we're under construction.
But is there any soundproofing or any sort of anything that would mitigate some of that, you think? Not necessary?
Enough to make a difference.
Ah, okay.
Noise canceling headset. Not magic, but it'll knock it down a little.
As part of
Okay,
our,
well, thanks.
Chris?
part of our weekly construction meetings, with the contractor, ask them to identify ahead of time any especially disruptive or noisy activities that may be, so that as best as possible, we can plan for those types of disruptions. But, it is construction and, part of maintaining occupancy of the building while construction is going on, we'll have to live with some noise.
Hey,
Okay,
Bill,
Chris, did we answer your question? Yeah.
Yes,
Go ahead.
thank you. I'm glad somebody's thought through it. And my last question, are the outbuildings still on the property, on the other side of the barn? Are we doing anything with those outbuildings while we have a big dumpster and a wrecking ball there, or what are we doing with those buildings? We're not gonna, please tell me we're not contemplating leaving those after building a $1.6 million new building.
Talking the shed and whatever else is over there?
Yeah.
But there's some stuff over here that,
There's a fence around it.
does anyone have a plan for that, or? Good point, Chris, I have no idea.
Okay,
Probably
thank you.
Yep, something to look at.
I'm gonna have
Something
to-
else, right?
Yeah.
Oh, geez, okay, Chris. All right, so,
Thank you.
Yes,
It's kind of on the bar thing. I have been contacted by, the third graders of Kildare that do want to do a tour of the schoolhouse and how are available, in March. So, I'm gonna try and see if they can do it the first week of March. If the first week of March, or one day of the third and one day of the fourth week of March.
Jane, just let us know. And
It sounds like we're gonna have to
Earlier the
wait, yeah, we're gonna have to wait for here before it gets moved anyway.
Okay.
Earlier the better.
But
Almost a month, so I'll see if I can push them, I'll be doing one every day, but I can see if I can push them for the first week of March, so we can do both. Okay? They approached us out of the blue, so.
Anything else? Yes?
Also with regard to the barn, right now we have power in the barn. Is that part of the
Yes.
program, to
Yep.
get power out to it?
Yeah, that question already got asked, yep. Got asked, so there will be power, yep. All right, if there's nothing else, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by trustee O'Connor, seconded by trustee Jamil. And, all in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks, Chris, for joining us.
Bill, you got, Bill, you have 5 minutes?